Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the 2018 NFL Draft Class, specifically the Seattle Seahawks. So in this video, we're going to go through every single pick that the Seattle Seahawks selected. We're going to look at them in terms of production data and athleticism data to determine what type of upside they may have based on how past draft classes have shown in terms of what they look like on paper. So again, this video in many ways is just going to look at what the potential upside is based on how past players in the draft have performed. And if you're new to the channel and new to the work that I do, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So with all that stuff out of the way, let's get to the first pick of the draft for the Seattle Seahawks, which of course is Rashod Penny, running back out of San Diego State. When you look at his production data, he had a 96.07 market share production score. He's pretty much above the All-Pro threshold, 5-time Pro Bowl threshold, and 3-time Pro Bowl threshold in terms of his overall production data. And in many ways, he's the only running back in this draft class that hit All-Pro level production data. It was against lower level competition, but he still hit a very, very high production trait, nevertheless. In terms of his data. And when you look at the averages at the position, he's well above what the average All-Pro score is. In many ways, this doesn't necessarily mean that Penny is going to become a multiple All-Pro running back, but definitely he has a very good shot to become a high-quality back, to say the least. A guy that could become a Pro Bowler, could become a starter because of his overall production traits. And on top of that, when you look at his athleticism traits, he had a 59.43 explosive lower body strength score and an 89.24 speed score. Didn't quite do flexibility testing, so I don't have a short shuttle or a 3-cone to really determine much with him in terms of his balance for his size, but definitely has at least one 79 or higher athleticism trait, which every single multiple All-Pro and Pro Bowl running back since 1999 had at least one 79 or higher trait in terms of athleticism. So Penny in many ways has Pro Bowl potential. He's a back that has All-Pro / Pro Bowl potential based on his production, based on his athleticism traits. I know a lot of people pan the pick mainly because either they haven't watched Rashod Penny play because he played at San Diego State, or they have question marks because of his level of competition. But I think the bottom line is he has All-Pro / Pro Bowl athleticism traits and has All-Pro / Pro Bowl production. So in many ways, I just think if you look at it from a data perspective, it doesn't look that poor when you look at it from that perspective. Then, of course, you get to Sheen Green, interior defensive lineman out of USC. When you look at his athleticism traits, 56.15 in terms of explosiveness, 89.06 in terms of speed, and 86.91 in terms of flexibility for his size. In many ways, he has Pro Bowl level athleticism traits in terms of everything here. And production-wise, he has a 64.20 solo tackle score, 87.94 sack score, and an 82.10 tackle for loss score. Doesn't quite have All-Pro / Pro Bowl potential because of his TFL data and his solo tackle data, but definitely has starter potential when you look at the production thresholds. And when you look at the averages at the position, the only major issue he has is solo tackle data. So I think in many ways, Green is closer to a long-term starter than he is an All-Pro / Pro Bowl player, but definitely pretty solid all-around profile when you look at it. So I think it's a very good shot that Green becomes a successful player because of his athleticism traits and because he has good production, not great production, but definitely solid production. Then, of course, we get to Will Dissly, tight end out of Washington. When you look at his production data, he had a 35.50 market share production score, which doesn't hit the All-Pro threshold, but does hit at least a little bit above the Pro Bowl threshold. But when you look at his production data compared to the averages, the All-Pro average is about 90.17, Pro Bowl average is about 81.64, and the starter average is about 74.65, and Dissly's way below what those averages are. On top of that, his athleticism traits are not that impressive, 23.62 in terms of explosiveness, 46.48 in terms of speed, and 73.97 in terms of flexibility for his size. Does not have All-Pro / Pro Bowl potential based on his athleticism traits, but could become a long-term starter. I think that's the best sort of upside you could look for when it comes to Dissly, but not somebody that's going to become a high-impact tight end at the next level. Then, of course, you get to Griffin, linebacker out of Central Florida. When you look at his production data, at a 72.55 solo tackle score, doesn't quite hit the All-Pro threshold or Pro Bowl threshold, but does hit at least close to the starter threshold. And on top of that, really impressive athleticism traits, 55.40 in terms of explosiveness, 98.48 in terms of speed, and 85.30 in terms of flexibility for his size. In many ways, he's closer to a Pro Bowl linebacker in terms of athleticism traits than he is a starter. But still, solid all-around athleticism traits. I think the best case scenario for Shaquem Griffin is that he becomes a long-term starter based on his athleticism, based on his production traits, but still pretty solid all-around profile. And of course, we get to Trey Flowers, defensive safety at Oklahoma State. When you look at his production data, 39.57 in terms of solo tackle data, 40.42 in terms of interception data, and 89.13 in terms of pass deflection data. Doesn't really hit the areas he needs to hit in terms of solo tackle data, in terms of all-pro / Pro Bowl potential. When you look at the averages at the position, those are the two main issues that lag, is solo tackle and interception data. And on top of that, when you look at his athleticism traits, 32.18 in terms of explosiveness, 71.76 in terms of speed, and 31.65 in terms of flexibility for his size. Just not that impressive when it comes to explosiveness. Definitely could become a long-term starter. But again, the solo tackle data and the interception data is the two big things that kind of lag behind. I think it's more likely that Trey Flowers becomes a backup than he does a long-term starter, but long-term starter is definitely his ultimate upside. Then, of course, we get to Michael Dixon, punter out of Texas. When it comes to his production score as a punter, he had a 99.71 production score since the 2001 college football season. So again, very, very strong punting. Very strong punter in terms of the data. Haven't really done enough work to kind of look at the thresholds in terms of long-term starters, Pro Bowlers, all-pro players when it comes to punting, but definitely solid all-around college punter. We'll see what happens if he translates or not. And of course, we get to Jamarco Jones, offensive lineman at Ohio State. When you come to his athleticism testing, he had a 13.30 explosive lower body strength score, 24.81 speed score, and an 8.33 flexibility score. There's never been a long-term starting offensive tackle or offensive guard with as low of a flexibility score as Jamarco Jones, and that's the biggest issue with his profile. Is just he's really, really unathletic, and not only that, he's really, really unathletic in terms of a flexibility score that just kind of takes him out of a lot of different things. And when you look at the averages at the position, the average All-Pro score, average Pro Bowl score, and average starter score, nowhere near what those averages are. So again, in many ways, Jamarco Jones is not that impressive in terms of his overall athleticism traits, and his flexibility trait in many ways is a major red flag that honestly should take him off most boards. I mean, that flexibility testing is almost it's to the point where if there's never been a long-term starter with as low of a score as that, then why even have him on your board? If there's never been a long-term starter. Then, of course, we get to Jake Martin, edge out of Temple. When you get to his production data, he had a 25.27 solo tackle score, 63.42 sack score, and 44.35 tackle for loss score. Doesn't quite hit All-Pro or Pro Bowl potential in terms of the bottom end thresholds because of his solo tackle data and because of his TFL data. But he does have some good athleticism traits. 36.65 in terms of explosiveness, 76.34 in terms of speed, and 72.02 in terms of flexibility for his size. In many ways, he has Pro Bowl potential athleticism traits without the production to match. So we'll see what happens with him, but he's mainly just an athlete that just doesn't have the production to match his athleticism trait. And then lastly, we get to Alex Magoo, quarterback out of Florida International. When you look at his career FBS score, 20.95 out of 100, which is pretty much Josh Allen territory in terms of how poor his college production is. And then, of course, when you look at the averages at the position, woefully below what the All-Pro averages, the Pro Bowl average, and the starter average. Just all around really, really below average quarterback in general. I'm not sure if I'm not sure why they made this pick 100% because of how poor his production data is. But I do think there is I'm not going to say politics here, but definitely is questionable when you look at his overall production data. There's not a lot of long-term starters with his production profile the way it is. Overall, when you look at the Seattle Seahawks draft class, I do like the beginning of this draft. I think Rashod Penny, Sheen Green, Shaquem Griffin, all those guys I think have a very good shot to become successful NFL players. Guys like Will Disley, Trey Flowers, Jamarco Jones, and Alex Magoo, those are guys that I think it's very unlikely that they become long-term starters. Most likely, I don't want to say bust, but just guys that most likely will be backups / practice squad guys. And Jake Martin has a potential to become a athletic outlier as a long-term starter, but definitely big question marks in terms of his overall production profile. So we'll see what happens with this draft class. I do think that they got a little too much hate thrown at them because of the Penny pick, because I do think that Penny is one of the better testing running backs in this draft class. But ultimately, not a bad class, but definitely could have done better. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Seattle Seahawks draft class? And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace!